It is the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. I am Chase Senior, and as we know, the Julio Jones trade madness has been heating up. It's been sizzling for weeks, and the Baltimore Ravens have been involved in these discussions according to reports. And Jeremy Fowler of ESPN came out with a report saying that the Ravens could be interested in trading for the seven-time Pro Bowler and likely future Hall of Famer if, quote, the price is right. You've seen this offseason that the Baltimore Ravens have done a lot of things to support Lamar Jackson as his rookie contract starts to come to a close. They signed Sammy Watkins in free agency. They drafted Rashod Bateman. And they're looking to capitalize on Lamar on his rookie deal because right now he's not getting paid all that much money. But soon he is going to secure the bag and get a contract that is up there with some of the highest paid quarterbacks all across the NFL. So if the Ravens are sitting down at the practice facility and they're having discussions and asking themselves, should we trade for Julio Jones? If that means supporting Lamar Jackson, then do it at all costs because soon he's going to be very, very expensive. Right now, he's on his rookie deal. He is not expensive. So I'm doing everything that I can to maximize on this current window because the Ravens have been so close toward competing for Super Bowls, and I believe they are a Julio Jones-like player away from getting to the promised land. You look at what Lamar did in 2020, it was another magical campaign, not quite as good as his MVP season, which was one of the best all-around quarterback campaigns in the history of the NFL, but he was still really, really good, and I think the back half of the season, Lamar Jackson took so many strides forward as a passer. 64.5% completion percentage. He threw for almost 3,000 yards. He's going to be elite at running the football as well. We know that he's one of the most dynamic athletes and players in football, not just quarterbacks. He ran for almost over 1,000 yards, and 33 total touchdowns. How about the Ravens wide receiving depth chart right now? Can you imagine if Julio Jones is alongside Marquise Hollywood Brown, who's going back to the number 5 that he donned at Oklahoma, and Sammy Watkins, who the Ravens signed in free agency. They drafted Rashod Bateman in the first round. They have Miles Boykin. Julio Jones alongside these 4 guys, I think, would have the Ravens atop the charts as one of the best receiving corps across the entire NFL. Julio Jones, 32 years old. The injury is starting to pile up somewhat. He only played in 9 games last year, but that's the most time he's ever missed in his entire NFL career. And even though he only played about half the season, he was still very, very productive as the numbers indicate. He's certainly a historical wide receiver, too. 7-time Pro Bowler. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame. He's probably the best player ever in the history of the Atlanta Falcons. This is why. Most reception yards per game in NFL history. Julio Jones is number 1 in the history of the league, ahead of guys like Calvin Johnson, Michael Thomas, Antonio Brown, and Odell Beckham Jr. No old schoolers on that list because of the way that NFL offenses have evolved and changed, but still, most reception yards per game in NFL history, that is pretty impressive. As for Julio Jones' contract, a lot of people have said, 32 years old, he's really expensive. I'm not sure I'd give up a hot commodity or draft capital to trade for Julio because of that contract and those injuries. It's really not bad when you break it down. Base salary in 2021 of $15.3 million. And if Julio Jones can stay on the field and still be productive, like he has been as one of the best wide receivers in the league, even at this point in his career, $11.5 million over the next 2 seasons is a bargain for Julio Jones, especially considering that he'd be with other wide receivers on the Ravens roster who can complement him a little bit and take the focus from defenses off of Julio solely. Julio Jones trade odds. The Ravens, they've been in the thick of the conversation for a while now. Patriots at plus 200. Titans at plus 200 as well. So those 2 teams favored at 2-1 odds to trade for Julio Jones. Colts at plus 600. Ravens 8-1 odds. And the 49ers at 8-1 odds as well. According to Diana Rossini of ESPN, a trade for Julio could happen very, very soon. So for the Ravens fans watching right now, I want you to flock into the comments. You see what I did right there? Oh yeah, that's next level. What draft pick would you give up for Julio Jones? Get into the comments, get your votes in, and let me know. Type F for a first-round pick. Type S for a second-round pick.